forward to you all joining future webinars where we discuss the journeys of a lot of our champions in franchising. With that, I would like to introduce our host, Mr. Javier Solis, the chair of the Hispanic Latino Franchise Leadership Council and co-founder of Toro Taxes, one of the largest Latino franchise companies in the country. Javier?
Thank you, David. Thank you very much. We are really, really excited because today is the last day of Hispanic Heritage Month. And I believe this is the best way to close the celebration with professionals that will kind of open your eyes on franchising. But more than that, we really want to share with you guys who we are as Latino entrepreneurs in the United States. So my name is Javier Solis. Just to give you some background on the council, we started the council back in 2022, and it was needed. Okay, we approached the president, Matt Haller, to kind of allow us to open the council to bring all the information to Latino entrepreneurs and also bring a lot of education to the non-Latino community to just learn who we are as Latino. And we are so happy that we received all the IFS support to launch this council. Okay, now it is a reality. It's been over 2 years working with the IFA to provide all the information that we can to just give more opportunities to our Latino entrepreneurs about the franchising industry. I am the founder of the first Latino franchise of income tax preparation in the nation back in 2007. Now, I'm with two partners, are the co-founders of Toro Taxes franchise, which is the largest Latino franchise of income tax preparation and accounting. We have about 250 units in 32 states, and there are about 320 more units in development with our territory and the developers. And there are other projects coming up for franchising that I'm really, really happy to announce once they become a reality. And I would like to also invite the executive board to introduce themselves so you could know who are the ones that are running the Hispanic Latino Franchise Leadership Council. Guys, let's go with you, Louis. You are in mute.
Okay, no, now okay. Sorry about that. No, my name is Louis Picasso. I've been in franchising for over 25 years now. I know I'm dating myself now. I've been a franchisee. I've been working with franchisors. Specifically, one of those happened to be Toro Taxes on their onset when they only had like 10 or so units at the time. And then I work with franchisors all over the world, bringing their brands to the United States. One of the highlights of my career was helping folks from the Hispanic regions of the world, Latin America, Central and South America, coming in and bringing in their expertise and what they do on their particular countries and bringing them to the United States. So that was a highlight of my career, and I think that's where the vision of the possibility of what the Hispanic entrepreneur can bring to franchising, if you will. And we'll get into the data in a little bit about how powerful that group is. But I'm very happy to be here, and thank you for the IFA for allowing this to happen.
I'll jump in here. Thanks, Louis. My name is Felipe Osorio, and obviously a proud member of working with the council. I've been working in franchising for several years now. And my primary job is working for Paychex. I am the area manager for the East. My primary focus is working in the multicultural sales and strategy for Paychex, meaning I look for opportunities to work with the Latino community, specifically from all ranges of businesses, from 1 employee all the way up to over 1,000. with Paychex, we've really invested time and resources in the last several years into the Latino community. And firsthand, I saw it myself because I was actually able to put together the first 2 dedicated bilingual teams here at Paychex over the last 2 years, which is something I'm very proud of. Paychex has been in the HCM payroll industry for over 50 years. And for the first 2 dedicated bilingual teams for me to be a part of it is something that I'm very, very proud of and thankful for the opportunity. But it's something that I'm very prideful and I think there's just a tremendous opportunity in the Latino community, specifically in franchising. So I'm excited to continue to grow with the council and obviously happy Hispanic Heritage Month and continue to bring more opportunities, awareness to our brothers and sisters in the Latino community through franchising.
Roberto, you're muted.
Yeah, I guess this automatically puts everybody in mute, so I apologize for that. Let me start again. Buenas noches, good evening. My name is Roberto Litvac, and I may be a little bit younger than Louis because I've only been doing franchising for about 20 years instead of 25. Most of my career in franchising has been dedicated to helping entrepreneurs launch franchise systems, helping them with operations, legal framework, unit level economics, basically making sure that they are ready and set up to grow through the franchising model. Part of my career has also been devoted to helping franchisees kind of operate to their best of their abilities, also making sure that they are doing the best that they can do. And we'll have an incredible conversation tonight about franchising and how franchising is a model for growth, particularly beneficial for the Hispanic community. So Marco, it's now your turn.
Perfect. Thank you very much. My name is Marco Antonio Sanchez Jr., and I work for Bloom Growth, and I work as a strategic partner growth manager. I work with coaches, consultants, and franchise consultants to help clients scale their business, whether they're looking to be a franchisor or a franchisee. We can help them model and scale their business to get to where they're trying to get to. What I'm more proud of is that in my company, I'm leading a project and being able to get everything in Spanish and Espanol. It's one of the things that we just need to have. There's no point in not having both languages, especially since we have a support team that is bilingual. So I figured, you know what, let's go ahead and do it. Let's do everything. So that's something that we're doing internally to help the Hispanic and Latino community to also educate and help people grow their business and scale their business. That's it.
All right.
Thank you, guys. Now what we are gonna do is just have an open conversation on what we are doing with the council, and we would like our good friend Roberto to help us with that.
Absolutely. And I would like to just kind of seed a few questions just so that we have like a topic to talk around. But really the idea is to have a very free-flowing panel of ideas and just share with each other our experiences in franchising. What do we see about franchising that kind of attracted us to the model, and also kind of what do we see is beneficial for it. So I'll just throw a general question to the group. We'll start easy and we'll say, from your perspective or your experience, why is franchising such an advantageous business model? I'll say in general, and then we'll hone it down to the Hispanic community. So whoever wants to take the first shot about it. Mr. Javier, go for it.
No, honestly, for all those business owners out there, Latinos and non-Latinos, this has to do with numbers, right? So I'm really proud to see how economically powerful our Latino community is. We're talking about $3.4 trillion in buying power. That's how much Latinos spend in goods and services. Now, once my business coach told me, go always after those who spend money. Okay. Sometimes we make a mistake to go after those who have money. But we've seen that the ones that have money don't really want to spend money. They want to invest it. Okay. So the ones that really spend money in the United States is the Latino community. And as an entrepreneur, we need that community to really grow our businesses. And besides, I mean, we're talking about Latinos are hardworking people. We are over 5 million Latino businesses in the country. And those are just few examples of why it makes so much sense to go into franchising.
Yeah, and not only that, if I could interject in that a little bit, I think it's really a way for and this is, I think it's part of the educational process and that we need to instill. And this is why the council, the HLFLC, is so important, because we're a part of, we should be, and we are a part of that education process to the Hispanic demographic and Hispanic entrepreneurs specifically. Because we talk a lot about franchising, and I think the core is really educating the Hispanic entrepreneurs and understanding what generational wealth really truly is, and educating them on what that is and how to obtain that through the vehicle of franchising. And I think that is a really important connectivity there that sort of puts it in all full circle, is how can we create generational wealth for themselves, for their families, for the generations yet to come. And how can franchising be a benefit for that, and how can that work, right? And so that could be a whole discussion and topic right there, and how that can happen. But I always go back and tell this story when I grew up in Los Angeles, in East LA to be specific. You would see these carnicerias, these stores that they were there for years and years and years. I went back after going through the whole process of franchising and going into that career. I went back, and those places were still there, except the only difference is that they're run by the kids, by the aunts, the uncles, the grandkids, or whatever. And so now, as I was looking, as I looked at all that, I was thinking, God, if they understood the power of franchising, they could have taken that concept and taken it from other cities, other states, and even around the country, and even globally, depending on the model. So there's a lot of connectivity there, that through education we can connect the dots, if you will, to create opportunities for the Hispanic entrepreneur.
Louis, if I could just jump in there. Sorry, Roberto. I just have a quick question for Louis or Javier or any of us. What prevents the Latino from taking that step? Is it kind of giving the responsibility to someone else that we kind of hesitate to do, to follow the franchisee model or the franchisor model? What prevents our Latino community from taking that step and saying, hey, we have a proven system, a proven model that obviously has had tremendous success, but what prevents our community from taking that step, in your opinion?
And I've been told several. And I'm glad, that's a great question, and I pose that question to a lot of Hispanic entrepreneurs and Hispanic people in that are not specifically in business by themselves, but in the services and as vendors and what have you. And I think one of the answers that I got from one of the groups that I was in at the time, and it's cultural. It's cultural, and tend to be lack of education, lack of understanding the full scope of that. There's always, when I grew up, we were always so don't make too much noise. Stay underground, stay under the radar, because there was back when I was growing up, I mean, unfortunately there were situations to where there was family members that weren't legal in this country, right? And there was those situations that occurred, and so we didn't want to make too much noise, and so that type of bring how you brought up in that culture in that way tends to kind of shelter you in a sense, and kind of limits your scope to expand really outward. Now, I would say that's first generations, maybe second generation, but now the new generations that are coming through now that are young, strong Hispanic entrepreneurs, that is changing slowly, and it's changing slowly. But I think just a lack of understanding and acknowledging that there is options out there, and we want to. One lady told me, well, Louis, we just want to keep everything to ourselves. We want, we don't want to share the wealth, and we understand it in franchising. Sometimes you got to share the wealth, obviously through royalties, franchising fees, and what have you. So, but if you ask that question, you're going to get a few different answers, from different opinions from folks.
Yeah, culture is one of those things. In my case, honestly, and I went through that. I started preparing taxes in 1990, and that's what I was doing. I was a technician preparing taxes with my clients, and I wanted to give them the best service possible. Okay, when I decided to start the franchise, there was nothing on Latinos for tax preparation or associations, nothing, and I decided to start that. Even when I had the franchise, I was still preparing taxes. Okay, I never stopped being a technician until I hired a business coach. He, through some training, made me understand that I had to choose between continue being a technician or becoming a manager. And the best book, honestly, this is the book that I advise anybody to read, is the 𝐸-MYTH Revised. Okay, so the 𝐸-MYTH Revised, it's the book that really teaches you on how you need to separate yourself from becoming a technician or from being a technician and becoming a manager. So eventually I started teaching my tax practitioners and giving my clients to them. And I started running the franchise as an administrator. Okay, so, and that's the issue that I've seen with a lot of Latino entrepreneurs, especially with restaurants, because they have 3, 4 very successful restaurants, and they are jumping from one on the other, making sure that they are doing what they were doing in the restaurant. Okay, instead of training those people, or at least building a nice manual to train other people. Okay, sometimes we don't let that go. We want to control customer service. We want to control quality of the food, of whatever services we provide. And when we do that, we don't grow. We don't scale our business. Okay, you have to start becoming a technician, start being an administrator, okay, and develop this manual for everybody else to use it. So it's much easier to just run a franchise with 20, 30, 50 restaurants than working on your 5 restaurants. As a franchisor, you guys know, and I hope that everybody here knows, that we get a percentage of all the revenues the franchisee produces.
Yeah, I couldn't agree more, Javier. I think in my experience helping launch franchise systems, probably one of the hardest things to do was change the mindset of the now new franchisor. And we use that term very, very frequently. It's not the same selling tacos than selling units that sell tacos. In that mind frame and in that switch is really something that we have to work on as entrepreneurs. And just speaking of entrepreneurship, I mean, we as Latinos already have that entrepreneurship or entrepreneur bug inside of us, right? According to the Kaufman indicators for entrepreneurship, Latinos have a 0.5% rate of entrepreneurships, while all other ethnicities are less than 0.4%. So we're already working, and we're already kind of having ideas and executing those ideas and turning them into businesses. Now what we need to do, in a sense, is almost detach ourselves from, I'll call, the operation, and start thinking about growth and about how do we manage rather than how do we operate.
Yeah, I agree. And it's funny how you say that, Roberto, is because a lot of there's there's two sides to this. Is the franchisee side, the Hispanic franchisee or potential franchisee or entrepreneur, if you want to refer them to. But to what Javier's point is, when you become a franchise, and to your point as well, when you become a franchisor, so you're going from a franchisee and from a small business owner, and you want to transition your business into a franchise. That is a huge mindset right there, because then you're not in the business of selling the tacos. You're now in the, like you said, in the business of selling the units that sells the tacos, right? So that's another thing. Now take the Hispanic out of the way and out of the equation, and then you have a regular franchisor. And having the franchisor understand, it's another big challenge, understand the power or the power of the Hispanic entrepreneur, having them understand that instead of going through the same status quo that they always have done, and just keep the resources into the status quo. But actually, if they was to change their mindset and grow into the fact and say, let's start marketing to the Hispanic entrepreneur. Let's start marketing so they can capture, they could buy one of our franchise brands. A lot of folks don't do that from both sides. Is one, the Hispanic entrepreneur saying, listen, I don't really understand and know English that well. I can get away with certain things, and that's intimidating. And correct me if I'm wrong, guys, and then on the franchisor side, we don't have the internal capacity to really understand. If they don't know English, that's it. We can't bring them on. If they don't know 100% English, we can't bring them on. Well, how much money, guys, do you think that they're losing, that they're leaving on the table with that type of mentality? Instead of internalizing the problem, say, okay, let's fix this problem. Let's internalize it so that we can take advantage of that market, because it's the GDP 3.4 trillion. I mean, that's not chump change. And I will tell you this, and this very prominent, and I did this, and thanks to the IFA for doing this. We put a table a couple of years ago on the IFA roundtable. And one of those was on the roundtable was, how to capitalize on the Hispanic market, entrepreneur, right? It was something to that nature. All the tables around me were pretty much filled. Okay. My table had like maybe 5 or 6 people in it. And so I did my thing. I was moderating that table, and there were people asking me questions about, Hispanic entrepreneurship. How do we attract more Hispanic entrepreneurs? Blah, blah, blah. So at the end, I said, look at around us. There's so many people at these other tables, marketing, operations, infrastructure, whatever, right? I said, but if I had $3.4 trillion stacked from my table all the way to the ceiling, my table would be so packed with people trying to ask me, how do we get a big piece of that pie? But they don't see it that way. They just, for whatever reason, don't see it that way. So I think as part of the IFA, as part of the Diversity Council, and the Hispanic Latino Franchise Leadership Council, we need to do that. That's one of our objectives. And this is something, if there's any franchisors out there, take heed, because there's a lot of opportunity out there that are being left on the table.
Yeah, and I think we share where we've talked about culture and education from the Hispanic side of things. I think from the non-Hispanic side of things, also there's a lot of education that needs to be kind of thrown out there in kind of educating the sense the general public about what the Hispanic community's powers in the economy are.
100%.
Great. And of course, since culture and education have been topics of relevance in this conversation, how do we go about kind of changing that or combating that so that, the information is out there and we can get either more Hispanic entrepreneurs going into franchising or more existing franchisors looking for Hispanics to join their systems?
Yeah, I think Roberto, that's a great question, but I think it's really continue to do what we're doing, right? We have to continue to spread awareness. We have to continue to be educational. In my career, I've worked in the HCM space with a lot of Latino entrepreneurs. The majority, I'd say about 90 to 95% of my client base were Latinos. And I always used to think, man, this would be a great franchise if they would just take that chance. But a lot of times what I found out, and maybe it's different for you guys, they just didn't know where to get the information. They didn't have that mentor. They didn't have that guide that can say, hey, let me show you how I did it. And if you guys, I'm sure you guys would agree, anything in life, we're not trying to reinvent the wheel. We're just trying to kind of follow certain footsteps to success. And that's what franchise presents, is certain footsteps and doors that will open for you to take that next step. And I believe it was Louis or Javier that mentioned it earlier before. We're such big dreamers, us Latinos, right? We dream big. We come from all different parts of the world. But I feel like once we find we take that step to be our own business owners or to be entrepreneurs, sometimes we need to dream a little bit bigger, right? And why stop at one business when you can say, hey, let me take this business who I've actually been pretty successful at now, and let me take an even bigger step and turn it into a franchise model, or take a chance to say, hey, I've invested my money, I have a nice nest egg here. Let me take a chance and invest into a franchise already established business. So to answer your question, Roberto, I just think that I think sometimes we don't know to look for the answer. We don't know where to go look for the help that we need to take that next step.
Awesome. Yeah, and I mean, one thing that to me, in a sense, becomes obvious only because I have lived through the experience is we need to be more connectors. With the Hispanic community, we tend to be very, I don't want to call it isolated, but we are very focused. Maybe that's the word, very focused. And we need to kind of, in a sense, almost break those blinders and kind of really make an effort to connect with other people, understand other types of businesses, understand other types of models. And that will eventually kind of lead us to, I think, additional growth.
Something to add on to that, Roberto, I think you hit it on the head, is also sometimes a little bit of pride gets in there and we don't ask for help. And not necessarily that we need help with that, but we don't ask for help as in, what else can we do? How can we make this better? How to take advantage of the situation? And that comes, and then again, that ties into what Felipe says as far as the education, right? Being able to educate and have those resources available, but we also have to be open and helping others to ask the question, where can I get help just for educational purposes, to help you advance, to help you get to where you need to go.
Agreed. And Javier, I mean, I'll turn to you very quickly, which is where does the Hispanic Latino franchise community leadership council come into play when we're talking about education and creating culture and stuff like that?
Yeah, that what Marco mentioned, it's so true. Sometimes we think we don't need anybody, and you could ask any entrepreneur, successful entrepreneur, and they'll tell you that it's needed somebody to really help you. And one of the things that I also learned in all these years of entrepreneurial journey, it's that your circle will make a huge difference on who you will become eventually. Okay, and unfortunately, we have in our circle people that we don't admire, people that we look at them and say, I mean, I want to be with them. I'm like them. You know, sometimes we see all those people that are very successful and they are happy and all the stuff. And we say, I would love to become like Kim. Okay. But that type of person is not in our circle. Okay. And sometimes we need to clean our circle, and that includes family members. Okay. Sometimes people get upset when I say that. Your family, it will always be there. Okay. Your family, believe me, brothers, sisters, cousins, they will be there all the time. They don't have to be in your entrepreneurial journey circle, okay? Because they are not adding anything to your journey. And believe me, when you are down there, that the bank closed the door on your loan, the loan that you really need to open your business, you don't need your cousin to go and say, okay, look, I have this bottle of whiskey. Let's talk about this. No, you need somebody next to you to tell you, yo, man, what the heck are you doing? You're down there, but let's get up. Okay, I know this other person that will give you the loan. And those are the type of people that you need in your circle. People that will take you, that will grab you and take you to people that will change your life. So might not sound really nice to tell you this, but you need to start changing and cleaning your circle of whomever is in there.
I agree. The number one problem, or the number one hurdle, I should say, that minority entrepreneurs have is funding. Is that is the number one hurdle. And this is why I'm not doing what I'm doing now, is providing opportunities for them. But that if you're talking to an entrepreneur, Hispanic entrepreneur, African American entrepreneur, whatever they may be, it's usually that funding is a major hurdle for them for whatever reason. So we're talking on one side of education. We've talked about education. We've talked about our cultural, who we are as a culture. And I think what's important is that's one side. And I really want to focus on the franchisor side. How can we, taking your question, Roberto, how can we change the mindset of the franchisors? I know there's probably a few franchisors that are on here that maybe, they're in the development aspect of things, operations or what have you, but how do you change that mindset and make them realize, make the franchisor realize, the franchise industry, that they're leaving money on the table by not promoting and marketing and advising and educating more the Hispanic entrepreneur? How do we do that?
Yeah, and I mean, I think it's truly a I'll call it an everybody effort, right? I think it's associations like the IFA who allow councils like this one to kind of have a platform in a sense. And I think it's sorry to say it, but I think it's got to be through repetition, and making those franchisors and those businesses aware and understand kind of where do Latinos fit in the puzzle as a big piece of it, right? As a big piece in terms of economic power.
Yeah, I was talking to, I'm not going to mention the bank, but I was talking to a major bank, one of the top 5 in the country, and I asked one of their VPs there what was the problem, and because they were asking me. I said, Louis, how can we provide more resources, economic resources to the Hispanic market, and how can we develop a plan? I said, well, we need to understand that we need to educate the community and have you. And I said, but how do you get around with, now I'm going to ask you as a bank, how do you get around those technicalities that somehow more than often prevent the Hispanic entrepreneur, the minority entrepreneur from getting and being attracted to the loans and offerings that you have? And they said, I don't know. I said, well, so I gave her some ideas, and they were saying, well, that's way above my pay grade. We're going to have to go all the way to the top to change that mindset, to change the protocols, to change the way we do business with that particular demographic. And as much as I think us folks down in the real world, we understand what's needed to be done, but it's those power figures, it's those ones that make the decisions, need to understand and that there is opportunities for them to grow and to expand into a whole different market that's really advantageous.
Awesome. Thank you, Lee. Well, guys, I don't know if there's any additional comments overall. I think we can really open it up to our guests. Maybe they have some questions that we could address, or just even if they have a comment they'd like to make, by all means, please feel free to unmute yourselves and just share.
As they do that, I would like to also let everybody know that the council, as I mentioned, it has a little over 2 years when we first started. And we are looking for people. We are looking for Latino entrepreneurs that share our same vision to help our community. You see the executive board here. We don't get paid. Okay, this is volunteer time. Because we believe that our entrepreneurs can take advantage of what the franchise system is. The same way we did it, we want the rest of the Latino entrepreneurs with great businesses, successful businesses, jump into the franchise industry. We've seen a lot of Latino concepts. We see Taco Bell, many other franchises. There is even a Pollo Loco franchise. I mean, you can go more Latino than that, but still, the owner is not a Latino. Okay, so my point is that we do have a lot of Latino concepts that are part of our community. And we really need to start becoming part of this franchise model, because you will, believe me, as an entrepreneur, you will not only enjoy, but you will see the fruits of all those years of hard work with your company.
Yeah.
So you having started that, again, here, this group has years of experience. Louis has a consulting company that does what they do, and so many people have also called me. I have explained to them the process, because I made mistakes when I first opened my franchise. I spent a lot of money that I didn't have to, because I didn't have somebody to tell me, yo man, what are you doing? You're not supposed to do that. You should start with this. I didn't have any of those things. So I did spend time, spend money, but you don't have to do that anymore, okay? Because you have people that can help you.
Yeah, 100%. And also, you know, franchisors, if anybody here on listening to us, if you're a franchisor, we'd love to hear from you and try to understand how we can help franchisors understand the Hispanic market. If there's any interest in how to break into that market, you know, what is it that what is it that you can do or we can do to help you to establish that. So if there's any franchisors out there that are looking for insight onto that, please let us know. Either make a note now, or you can always email each and every one of us, or the IFA to David, and David can reach out to us as well. But we're looking for franchisors to really help get to start driving the education aspect to the franchisor community. So if anybody's out there willing to be that leader, we welcome.
Absolutely, and that's perfectly said, Javier and Louis. We want to grow the council. I know there's a ton of great minds out there to help us do that and help us spread the awareness and continue to push this initiative forward. The participants that we do have online, I want to just one more time give it an opportunity. So anyone that has any questions for the council, any of us, don't be shy. Is there anyone that would like to ask us a questions before we close out here? No problem at all. I would want to take this opportunity to thank David and the IFA once again for the opportunity on this webinar. By all means, please be on the lookout. We are going to have plenty more webinars and events in the near future. We're really excited for what the future holds for us. I know that the IFA is truly behind this, and we want to continue to grow the council. We want to continue to grow the Latinos in the franchising world and continue to grow the success. Javier said the numbers. We want to continue to make sure that we're moving forward as a community, because there is a tremendous opportunity here for all of us. So once again, to the IFA, David, and from the council, all of us here, we want to thank you for your time today, and please be on the lookout for many more webinars in the near future. And from Javier, Marco, Louis, Roberto, and myself, thank you once again for your time, and we look forward to seeing you very soon. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you.
Thank you all.